Here's something that might surprise you. A kind gesture changes your brain in seconds. On-screen text, kindness changes your brain in seconds. It might feel good to be kind, but it actually feels good for your brain. Let's start with the science of kindness. Kindness is any behavior intended to benefit another. That could mean holding a door open or sending a thank you note. But why bother? Well, in a world where 1 in 5 adults report feeling lonely, being kind makes you feel connected and part of a community. In turn, you're more likely to help others, which helps you cope when you're stressed. In other words, a little kindness goes a long way. But how far exactly? Here's what we know. When you perform an act of kindness, your brain's reward circuit, also called the ventral striatum, activates a region called the MPFC, which stands for medial prefrontal cortex. This causes the release of 3 happy chemicals in your brain: oxytocin, dopamine, and serotonin. Each of these make you feel better. Oxytocin reduces the stress hormone cortisol. Dopamine motivates you to repeat the action by making you feel satisfied and even pleasured. And serotonin boosts your mood. But here's the twist. These same chemicals affect your brain every time you experience social connection. That means doing something kind tricks your brain into thinking you're socializing, giving you all the feel-good chemicals without having to talk to anyone. In 2006, the National Institutes of Health in Washington, D.C., researchers Jorge Mal and Jordan Grafman had this hunch that charitable giving, an act of kindness, would light up the same brain regions associated with social connection. To find out, they scanned 218 healthy adults while they completed a task where they could anonymously give money to various groups. Using magnetic resonance imaging, they found that the participants' mesolimbic reward system activated when they decided to donate. The mesolimbic system is made up of several structures, including the ventral striatum and the MPFC, which releases the happy chemicals we mentioned earlier. These findings were published in the journal PNAS. How do we know these regions are activating and releasing those chemicals? The answer is right here on the screen. Basically, there are ways to measure brain activity and chemical changes without opening up someone's skull. Now, let's get back to the science of kindness. When you're kind, your brain becomes more flexible. A flexible brain is one that's quick to adapt to new experiences and environments. When you engage in random acts of kindness, your brain becomes more adaptable because you re-challenging it to approach novel situations with an open mind and consider different perspectives. For example, you might have to think outside the box to come up with a thoughtful gift or find creative ways to brighten someone's day. These experiences help your brain become more adept at handling future challenges and adjusting to changing circumstances. A study published in 2008 in the journal Science found that engaging in kindness strengthens the connections between your brain's regions responsible for social cognition and emotion. Researchers Laura Ekman, Elizabeth Dunn, and Michael Norton recruited 240 participants who volunteered for a series of tasks at the University of British Columbia in Vancouver. Half the participants were asked to perform random acts of kindness, such as buying a cup of coffee for the person behind them in line or giving a compliment to a stranger. The other half did not perform any acts of kindness. Afterwards, participants took a survey measuring their happiness and ability to recognize emotions in themselves and others. Those who performed the acts of kindness reported feeling significantly happier and better at understanding both their own emotions and the emotions of others. Not only does kindness make you feel good and help you connect with others, it also increases your resilience. Resilience is the ability to recover quickly from difficulties or setbacks. See, our brains are wired to focus on negative experiences, which helped our ancestors survive potential threats. But today, this negativity bias doesn't always serve us well. It can cause us to dwell on mistakes, conflicts, or disappointments. In 2010, researchers Nicholas Fowler and David Christakis investigated how kindness affects our brain's negativity bias. They scanned the brains of 25 healthy adults using functional magnetic resonance imaging while they performed a task. This task showed positive and negative images for half a second each, and then scanned their brains again after they rated each image. The researchers found that performing an act of kindness reduced the brain regions associated with our negativity bias. So when you perform random acts of kindness, you train your brain to focus less on negative experiences and more on the positive ones. And it works whether you're introverted or extroverted. In 2012, researchers Laura Ekman, Elizabeth Dunn, and Michael Norton replicated their 2008 study in Vancouver, Canada. This time, their participants included people with varying personality traits, including introverts and extroverts. Once again, they found that performing acts of kindness increased feelings of happiness and social connection, regardless of personality type. So if you're an introvert, you don't have to force yourself to socialize. Simply doing something nice for someone else can activate the same brain regions and release the same chemicals. As if you were spending time with friends or family. Here's the thing, being kind is contagious. And yes, we mean that scientifically. A kind gesture can inspire others to be kind too, creating a ripple effect that can extend far beyond your initial interaction. By modeling kind behavior, you set an example for others and contribute to a more positive and supportive environment. To understand how this works, let's look at your brain and heart. In 2013, researchers Heather Wang, Sray Presman, and Richard Davidson used MRI and heart rate variability to investigate the relationship between kindness and emotion in Madison. Their participants watched videos of people performing either a neutral act, like walking down the street, or a prosocial act, like helping an elderly woman carry her groceries. After watching each video, the participants rated how much they liked the person performing the act. They also completed a questionnaire measuring their trait kindness. Researchers found that participants who reported higher levels of trait kindness experienced a greater increase in positive emotion and a decrease in negative emotion after watching the prosocial video. What's more, the change in emotion correlated with changes in their heart rate variability. This is a measure of how much variation there is in the time between each heartbeat. Greater heart rate variability is associated with better health and well-being. So simply put, a kinder heart beats a little differently. So kindness isn't just a feel-good activity, it has measurable effects on your physical health. Researchers Jennifer Sneed and collaborators found that older adults who engaged in more kindness and positive social interactions had larger brain volumes in areas associated with social processing and emotion regulation. Emotion regulation is the ability to control your own emotional state. In other words, being kind helps maintain your brain health as you age. How does it do that? Well, performing acts of kindness may activate the same brain regions responsible for emotional regulation. This helps strengthen those regions over time, contributing to overall brain health in later life. When you're kind, you're not only affecting your own brain, but the brains of those around you too. Research shows that witnessing an act of kindness can evoke empathy and inspire others to be kind as well. In 2013, researchers Andrew Elliott and collaborators from New York University wanted to test if receiving kindness activates the same brain regions as giving kindness. Their participants played a game where they either received or gave tokens they could exchange for money. The researchers scanned the participants' brains using fMRI while they played. They found that the participants' brains lit up in similar ways whether they were giving or receiving kindness, suggesting that both giving and receiving kindness activate the same reward system in the brain. And remember those regions, the ventral striatum and MPFC? They're activated too when you see someone else experience pleasure. So not only does performing acts of kindness affect your brain, but seeing others experience the benefits of kindness can inspire you to be kind as well. By now, we hope you're convinced that kindness is worth a shot. If you're still not sure, consider this. An unkind comment won't ruin your day. An unkind comment will ruin your day. When you're kind, you're not only helping others, you're benefiting yourself too. Okay, so maybe you've been convinced. Now what? Try our 7-day kindness lab challenge starting today. Commit to performing one act of kindness per day for 7 days. Try to be creative and think of new ways to brighten someone's day. Then share your experiences with friends and family. See if they're up for the challenge too. Who knows? You might just start a kindness revolution. So here's our question for you. How will you use the power of kindness in your life? Andrew Carnegie said it best, "Act kind and you shall see wonders." Thanks for watching this episode of C Show.